Welcome to Rap Roots Media, Roots Crew. We have an amazing episode for y'all today. We are here with Shawn Williams, poet, Grammy-nominated poet, artist, all of these things. Can you say what's up to the audience for me?
Audience, how you doing? How you doing? I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited. It always feels good to hear Grammy-nominated. It's still new to me.
Still new to you. So I ask every one of my guests just to give us like a brief detail of kind of how you got into your artistic space. Obviously, I do hip hop, so I ask every artist sort of how you got into the music, but how'd you get into poetry and writing and things of that nature?
Funny that you said it. I do hip hop too. So I was started off with just being an MC, just putting words together, storyteller. My favorite rappers it's a wide range from anyone from Slick Rick to Corrupt to Big to Pot. Like I wasn't involved with any East Coast, West Coast. If you had lyrics, you had me. So started off becoming an MC. From there, I was getting a little discouraged off of certain places that I were going in a direction. So a friend of mine, his name was Lede, gave me a notebook and told me to start doing journal entries. From there, I did it just about my life and what I was going through. Took me to an open mic and I saw some open mic spoken word artists. And before then, I hated poetry, which is kind of crazy since I'm a spoken word artist and poet. But I heard poets who put words together in an MC type of way, but in a poetry font. I love the way the words were put together. And I was like, ooh, I think I can do that. And from there, it just birthed into me being a spoken word artist and going that direction.
Just blossomed. Okay, I like that answer. That's a very good answer. I did want to ask, obviously your poetry has to come from a place of somewhat struggle. I told you in my email, I heard your poem, Tired. Just men's tiredness in this world. We feel like we're providers, and that's really the thing that we are set out to do, and so many men get caught up in that. So where did that poem, or maybe the contents of that poem, come from you? How did you get to that point of writing that on paper and saying, I'm going to perform this?
It came from a selfish space. It came from me being tired and not knowing what tired meant. I kept on saying, people ask, I'm just tired. And I didn't really know that I was depressed. Like I was going through a lot, and it was just really weird that I was just going through these things and not knowing how to basically speak on it, elaborate that I was depressed, I was going through things, I was stressed out, all these types of things that a lot of men aren't able to speak on. So I was just writing from that space. And then I said it to my friend, who I've known for years, who was in the later part of the poem. And it wasn't finished. I just shared that part. And he said, oh, man, I could really relate to that. And he confided into me that, he thought about killing himself. And so while I'm sharing this poem with him, I got angry in that moment because I'm like, why you never told me this? I've known you for over 20 years. Why didn't you tell me? And he told me he didn't know that I could. And so that ended up I added that to the poem because the poem was already finished. I just added that conversation that we had because I thought it was even bigger. So it started from a selfish space for me, and then finding out that, wow, I'm not the only one who's tired. And it just became a big movement. And now that movement is over 5.2 million views on Instagram. So shared by a lot.
It was a beautiful poem. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, this dude is Grammy nominated. On top of this, he's got some things to say. Let me get him on the show. And I'm super appreciative that you were willing to come and do this with me. I know that we're a fairly smaller platform, but Grammy-nominated artist is a really big deal for me. And I've been telling all my friends, family, everybody, I got a Grammy-nominated poet coming out. I'm about to kill this interview. So I'm really appreciate
to be on the show. There isn't any small things. It's just small ideas. So this is a platform. I don't look at big or small platforms. I just look at platforms. So I appreciate being on here.
Thank you so much. I wanted you to tell the audience about your work as an author. I saw your book, The First 5 years with your son Langston, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I understand those first 5 years. I have 4 siblings myself. I'm not a father, but I have grown up with a lot of younger siblings, watching them grow up. And those first 5 years was kind of a point of like getting your lay of the land and starting to come into your own in a sense. So could you tell the audience briefly just about that book and the process of writing that?
came from a place of selfishness, but then all of a sudden doing more research and talking to a lot of my friends or other males with other men with children, the first 5 years is important for a few things. One, with my son, we found out that he was diagnosed with autism. He was on the spectrum. Two, a lot of relationships and marriages go through divorces during those first 5 years because it's a lot. It's a huge transition of being a parent when you might not have been. Financially, it's changed for you being a father and a parent. You now have a whole new responsibility, a human to take care of financially, and then just the development of a child within those first 5 years. They're really pivotal. So I felt like, you know what? Not only am I just going to talk about what I went through, maybe these are breadcrumb pieces for everybody else, other men who have gone through that. Because as you know, like a lot of us men don't talk a lot. We're just, we understand, but we don't talk a lot of being a parent, how depression and all these types of things. So it was my first year of just saying, this is what I've gone through these first pivotal years. I'm now working on the next 5. So it's now 6 to 10, and that's or 6 to 11, and that's an interesting journey as well. So I'm going to do it all the way till he's 21. All the proceeds go to him when he turns 21. And it's just going to be the 20. When I get to the last book, it's going to be a coffee table book of all the books that I wrote.
That's amazing, dude. That's an amazing idea. My cousin recently did a documentary. He was the first interview I did, and we talked about his documentary. It's called Generational Fatherhood. They talked with several black fathers all across. We live in Michigan, so all across the Michigan area, just about how fatherhood is viewed by the justice system and by like the child support system. And it was a very interesting film, and I got sort of a similar vibe from your book and that whole documentary. I did want to ask you, kind of blending those two questions together. You said that men feel tired, men feel depressed, and we don't always feel the need to talk about it. We're so in this provide space. How do you plan to, as a parent, teach your son to, it's okay to share these moments of doubt or depression or just being tired?
I have to teach him, well, first off, I have to basically erase all the stuff that I was taught as a kid. So I was in sports. My father, my uncles, all of them were so-called manly type people. So the first thing foremost, if it's sports or if you're a little boy, you fall, get up. Like, get up, get back to it. Don't cry, all those types of things. So you're training your son to all of a sudden not show emotion, because we consider emotion weakness. If you show yourself that you're hurt, if I'm on the basketball court, football field, we're boxing, whatever, anybody who's showing that they're hurt, we attack that, right? That's a weakness. But we shouldn't have that in real life. It's not a weakness that you're hurt. You're just hurt. And that should be okay that I'm saying I'm hurt, mentally, physically, all that. So I have to take all that away from me, strip away all those generations of what I was taught. And if my son falls down, okay, get up, because that's what you're going to have to do. Are you okay? What hurts? Okay, here's a hug. I love you. You're okay. You're great. And push them that way instead of saying, get up. You can't be weak and all those types of things. So it's
more of a get up and move forward, but also I'm here for you more so than just, with love than compared to like, get up, don't be weak. I really like that mindset.
And I'm for you as a father to say that I love you and we'll get through this together instead of me being here as a father and a coach. Get up, move. Like we have to break those generational curses. And I don't believe it makes children be weaker, because there's a lot of men saying that they're soft kids. It's okay for boys to be a little softer and say that I'm hurt, because what's going to end up happening is what I've learned on this journey with Tired. There are a lot of men who are suffering in silence because they can't say they're hurt. And I don't want my son to go down that path.
I like that mindset a lot. I wanted to ask, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I am from the Bay Area, Oakland, California.
Oakland, California. How do you think that the Bay, California, that's obviously a very vibrant place to be, so many different artists and people to speak with. How do you think that California has shaped your journey as an artist?
Amazing. it just shaped it in so many ways. You're talking about the home of the Black Panthers. You're talking about the rise of when Tupac moved out here. You're talking about the Oakland Raiders when they were out here, the A's, the Hells Angels. So many revolutionary type things that happened, the hyphy movement, just so many things, one way or another, negative or positive, that influenced me to become what I am. The artists like Tony with Raphael Sadiq and Dwayne Wiggins, Too Short, Hammer, the Pointer Sisters, so much Santana. Prince used to come out here. That's how we got Sheila E. Like, there's so much artistry in vogue out here that I've seen these individuals live walking up and down the street, or my parents telling me they went to their concerts. So there was no way I could escape it. There's no way that it can't be in part of my DNA. There's no way that I can't have revolutionary speak, or also slang of a pimp because the Mac was filmed out here, or this drug culture because crack cocaine was birthed out here. All those things are going to be in my language, my speak, because it's part of the fiber out here.
I like that. I think that California is a vibrant place to be. I was talking with an artist last week about Michigan and how this is we are very stick to your own lane kind of space. There's not a lot of collaborative efforts. And I talked about like California, Chicago, and those like big hip hop hubs of or just hubs of music in general, and how in order for Michigan to become more like that, we need to be a melting pot of just more people, more collaboration. And I think that's what California does really well, is that no matter where you step outside, you're going to meet someone that has something to tell you that's their big idea.
And we're really on an all-time high right now. Just a few days ago on Juneteenth, Kendrick did his show, right? His Popout show, right? Ooh. And the song that's all over the place is They Not Like Us. And within that, he said, do you think the Bay is going to allow you to disrespect Pac? Oakland might be your next stop. Now, he's from Compton. That's like 5.5 hours away from Oakland. But we're all united in that California, we can have our differences, but when it comes down to it, we are going to unite. And there's so many things with Los Angeles and Oakland, two different worlds, but those are our cousins, our brothers in all this struggle. And we all, like our music, we used to want acceptance from New York. We don't care anymore. We're going to make our own music, and we're going to make it great. And it doesn't matter if it's Kendrick. It doesn't matter if it was Death Row days. It doesn't matter if it was NWA, Short, E40. We don't need the acceptance anymore. As a matter of fact, our state is big enough that we can go platinum in our own state. We can be great in our own state, and we're just making our own music. And that's like the fiber of California, especially Oakland.
For sure. I did want to ask you, obviously I am a white man pursuing a dream in hip hop, and I sort of have this like weird feeling about it. I feel like it's definitely a African-American dominated field. So do you feel like white people who try to pursue the hip hop dream, do you feel like that's taking from the culture? Do you feel like that's helping build up the culture of hip hop as a whole?
I think everybody takes from the culture. It's just, what do you give back? Like, if I come to your house and I eat some food, like if you invite me over to your house and you're saying I'm cooking, right? And I'm coming over and I don't bring anything. I don't bring, hey, do you need these sodas, anything? Then I'm taking from your home, but I'm not bringing anything back. So we're all, it doesn't matter what race you are, you're taking from the culture. What are you giving back to plant? So going back to you, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever. You need to know the history of what you're getting into and be original in what you're doing and give back and be honored to be a part of it. I'm not from the Bronx. I'm not from where hip hop was originated from. Just because I'm black doesn't mean that I get all out ownership of it. But I am a part of it because of my color, my race. But I have to give back as even being from California. I have to know what the elements are. I have to study our greats and also give back. So no, as a answering your question, you being white, I think that you are taking, but what are you giving back? And if you're honestly giving enough back and acknowledging your roots and understanding that you are a guest like we all are in ways, then it's fine.
I like that answer. I think that helps me with my confusion a bit. I do want to ask you, I saw you had a poetry show the other night. Just how did that go? Give us a brief feeling of how that went.
I had two, as a matter of fact. I had two in one night, and they were great. One was in San Francisco and one was in Richmond. One was called Poetic Fridays. And it was a great show. It was me featuring. We had a great open mic. There was like 22 artists that got through the night, and I had a 15-minute set, and it's been a while since I've featured. I've been doing a lot of back-end work or other types of stuff. So it was great. It was a great feature. I did well. I got a lot of friends came out and to support, and it was a great feature. If you ever get a chance to see me live, you're going to see a great set.
Amazing. I did want to ask, I'm not super familiar with the spoken word space. Do spoken word poets have like tours similarly to the way art, like hip hop artists or comedians would have tours?
Yes, and I'm glad that you said comedians, because we're almost akin to comedians. We pop up and do a lot of shows and features, and we can tour. We're trying to get to that space where we are in those realms of a Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. We're still in those comedy clubs, spaces. Shoot, even I've done a few comedy shows as a spoken word artist. I've done comedic type poems. They're not all revolutionary or depressing type stuff. I can do some funny poems as well. So I've been in some comedy shows as well. But yes, we do go on tour, or we go on tour with artists. I was a part of a collective called Fiveology with four phenomenal spoken word artists. And we tour with Jill Scott and Raheem Devon. So we also open up for individuals as well. We're that talented.
Amazing. I like that you, I feel like you've definitely shown that you give back to just your community, the people that support you, the people that helped you get to this point of Grammy nominated. I feel like you're very in tune with those people that helped you get to this point.
I have no choice but to give acknowledgement to all the other people. I'm not self-made. I put a lot of work into my craft. But there's so many individuals who opened up the doors, even for me to be a part of the Recording Academy, to be nominated. You can't do it by yourself. You're going to need help. So I'm really fortunate enough to have mentors, individuals like Jay Crow. I'm going to name a few names, Roxanne Hannah-Ware, to later on in my career, teaming up with a phenomenal spoken word artist who is also Grammy nominated with me. His name is Prentice Powell. There are thousands of people who've helped me one way or another, even on some stuff of, hey, I looked at your website. There's a typo here. Something as small as that can help me, to somebody saying, hey, I know a show. I can hook you up with this individual, and I can have you meet this individual who runs this corporation, and they can help you get paid. So I had too many people for me to be like, oh, I'm Grammy nominated, I'm the greatest thing ever, and I'm self-made, because that's far from the truth. There's so many people. I usually say I'm so tall because I'm 6'5". I say I'm tall because I'm standing on the shoulders of so many people who've helped me.
I love that answer. I loved your answer about giving back to the spaces that, like, yes, we all take. We all, my view on it is nothing's new, nothing's fresh. We all take from somebody. But I loved your answer on just giving back, giving what you get. I wanted to dive back into parenthood. Do you have any more children, or just your one?
I have a stepson. I have my bonus son. His name is Trey. He is 25 years old, living in Atlanta. And of course, Langston, who was my first biological child, who was just an amazing journey. And fatherhood is just, like I said, it's an amazing journey. I learned so much, and he makes me so happy.
What do you think? I asked this to my artist last time because he was a younger father. This recent Father's Day, I wanted to just talk with you about any advice or maybe tips for expectant fathers, maybe ones that are going through a similar situation as you, with a child being placed on the spectrum or something like that, where it's a very serious condition or something serious they're battling. What advice would you give to them?
Give yourself grace. First and foremost, give yourself grace, even if your child's not on the spectrum. If you're becoming a father, it's a stressful time. Finances, do I have the money? Am I going to be a good father? All that. Give yourself grace. If you're in a healthy relationship, make sure that you pour into that relationship. If you're not, and it's about to go a different direction, you're going to be connected with that person for the rest of your life, not till they're 18, for the rest of your life. If they get married, graduations, all this, the rest of your life. So make sure that that connection with your child's mother, your wife, your ex-wife, whatever it is, make sure that that's strong, because if it's not, that brings on extra stress because you're dealing with that individual, meaning custody, all that type of stuff. So I would just say give yourself grace. Make sure your relationships with your children, your child's mother, the family, the people around that family, because it does take a village to raise a child. Just make sure that it's strong. And if it isn't, start working on that, because it's very important to your mental health and the success of your child.
How do you feel that people can best go about doing that? Because people will sometimes make the excuse of, oh, I have the work day and I have to put the kids to bed and I have to make dinner and clean the house and do this, that, and the third. How do I pour time into, on top of trying to build a connection with my child, also pouring time into my partner?
You steal it. You're going to have to steal it. You're going to have play dates. You're going to have a great relationship, like I said, with your family, because there's going to be times where you're going to need your aunt, your grandmother, your brother, sister to take care of the kids. And when you have that, you steal and have those dates. You have play dates. If somebody else who have kids around you, the adults go out, let them play, and you guys have your dates within that. You're going to have time, because you have your kids and you're going to have to put so much into them. You have work to make sure that you can take care of your kids, but you're going to have to take care of yourself as well and take care of your relationship. So you're going to have to steal it. You're going to have to prioritize your relationship.
I noticed you've mentioned a lot of different artists here today. Could you give me maybe 3 to 5 artists who you think have influenced you, either spoken word or just hip hop artists?
In the Bay or just in general?
Let's do the Bay. I like that.
Bay. Even though he's not from it, he had a big influence on it. We'll say Tupac. We'll say Too Short. So there's 2 twos. And you know what? He's not an artist, but he was an artist in ways. Ricky Henderson. If Ricky Henderson was just a little history, because Ricky Henderson was the first person to pop his collar on national TV. And that's a huge thing for Oakland. Like, salute yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself love. So, show that you have that swag or whatever the word is. So I'm going to say like Ricky Henderson's style and how he was unapologetic, Too Short for his independent grind and hustle. No major label and making it happen, selling hand to hand from the trunk. And then Tupac just being the unapologetic brash from Black Panther lineage. This superstar. So those 3 really influenced me. If we went outside of that, then it would be, of course, like Big, Scarface, Slick Rick, Nas, KRS-One, those types of individuals. Black Thought. I could go off all, but and even now recently Kendrick. So those would be people I pay attention to every time.
I like that. I like those answers.
Andre 3000. I'm sorry.
Andre 3000. There you go.
Andre 3000. I slipped up. I'd have been mad if I saw this interview and didn't say it. Yes. Andre 3000.
Andre 3000. I like that. I wanted to ask you, if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my question.
Oh, no problem.
Alrighty. I wanted to ask you about just the local community and how they view you in California, how they view what you've done for the spoken word space.
I was just talking about that. The local community. So I would love to just all of a sudden just give you this nirvana of what it is. But spoken word, not just spoken word, but just in general, there's so much talent in the Bay Area. It kind of sometimes gets like a crab in the bucket mentality. Sometimes crabs in the bucket mentality because everybody feels they're great and they want to blow up. Now, I'm not going to say it's the majority. There are a lot of artists in the Bay Area who are connecting, a Kev Choice, a Ryan Nicole. There's so many other individuals who are out there that are, building these relationships, building these networks. But I still think that there's more work for us to be done to support each other instead of competing so much where we can't get there together as a team. But it's amazing that there's so much. There are so many talented artists out here. I'm the Grammy-nominated one, but there are 50 to 60 that could have been it. There's so many dope spoken word artists. There are hundreds of musicians that are great, singers. You think about like the Lettuces, the Guapales, all the way going back to the Pointer Sisters to En Vogue. Like there are amazing, Lenny Williams. There are so many amazing singers out here, rappers, hieroglyphics. Like there are so many dope MCs, dope singers, great musicians out here. And so we just need to keep on keeping it moving. And with this Kendrick vibe and all these other things that are showing with California, let's unite. But there's a lot of us out here.
I like that answer. People were talking during the like Kendrick and Drake going back and forth. They were saying the saying of hip hop is a competitive sport.
It is.
Which is true to a certain extent. And I love that. And I love that we can have the disses and go back and forth and not kill each other. But I think that it's also the collaboration in this space needs to be the top, the most important. Because it feels like if we're not collaborating, we're not moving the genre forward. And that's my thing is I want this genre to continue to expand and grow bigger and bigger and bend in different ways. The reason I love hip hop so much is because it's so encompassing of so many different genres and different pieces of music. From you can hear a classic rock sample on a hip hop song, a jazz sample. You can hear artists go from hip hop to jazz to all sorts of different avenues of the music space, and I feel like that collaboration helps bolster that in a way.
The one thing I will say about that I like, there was many things that I liked about the battle between Kendrick and Drake, but it brought back lyricism. Like even Drake had to get on his lyrics, and he couldn't just put out any type of stuff. And that was important. I don't have any problems with the Sexy Reds and all the other ones who might be mumble or, not too lyrical, whatever, because not everybody needs lyrics every day. You don't need a lyric, some lyrical genius at a party and stuff, but there should be balance. And so with this time, I think it was like 3 weeks of that, we had Kendrick and Drake, and we were waiting for the music to come out. We were waiting for lyrics.
Dude, I was the way I was making, I was not going to sleep. I was making so much content. I was just waiting for something to drop so that I could, let's post the news. Let's post this drop. Let's post what Kendrick said. Like
you're like waiting for double entendres and stuff. Like we were talking about double entendres and there was storytelling and all these other types of things, video, all this stuff. And it was like, okay, that was great. We took 3 weeks out, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks out just for good content. And hip hop needs that. And so even though it was in a battle form, they weren't talking about killing each other, at least we got some lyrics for a while. And we can go back to the party. And even with Kendrick, he gave us a party anthem with They Not Like Us, but we still had a whole bunch of lyrics as well. And that was great.
I liked it a lot.
For hip hop.
Yeah, I was talking with my stepfather about it. My stepdad is black, and he was like, Black America is winning so much right now. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I was like, I don't see it as a bad thing at all for hip hop to be the center of attention, for Black America to be the center of attention, because Black people in this country have given so much to it. And I feel like this almost ties back into what you said earlier about giving back. I feel like so many of the spaces that white people participate in are Black-centric areas, and not enough people give back to those or learn the history or whatever that may be. So I feel like it's important for Black America, or specifically, I don't want to be stereotypical, but Black topics to be the center of attention. It's important. It's important for our nation. It's important for the people. It's important for areas to become melting pots and become more inclusive to all sorts of different race people, because there are so many closed-minded people in this country who have a certain mindset.
And just to understand the messages that go along with this. I don't think, because I'm a spoken word artist that speaks sometimes on Black issues or whatever, and I'll be in a room full of white individuals who paid to see me. So I'm not going to be on some stuff of this isn't for you, but just understand they're coming from Black spaces, and don't just insert yourself thinking that I'm speaking exactly for you. If you understand the message of Tired, if you can relate to it, great, because you're a man, you're a human at that. but understand that it came from a Black space. So in Kendrick, when we're talking about Kendrick, when they're saying they're not like us or we're going to be all right, he's writing that from a Black space. I'm assuming strongly. But if you're saying, you know what, I want to be a part of that we, understand what that we is about before you're saying it. At the concert that was on Amazon, when, you know, the N-word is being yelled out or whatever, you understand what space that you're in before you're just a part of it. Just because you're a part of the show don't mean, and you love the culture, understand the culture, not just because it's hip. Just because it's hip hop don't mean because it's hip and I want to be a part of it. And look at me, I'm on TV and I'm at the thing. There's a lot of pain and struggle and hurt that comes from this art form, especially from Black spaces.
It is a therapy. It is a therapy for so many people. And you have to understand the pain that comes with so many of these, whether it's a hit song or whether it's something that you don't hear on the radio and it's the 5th track on somebody's album and they're really going in about how they're feeling depressed or how they feel taken advantage of by the American system as a whole. Like, no matter what it is, it's a therapy. Every song is another entry. So you have to be aware.
Yeah, like, are you the they? Are you the us of the they are not like us? And if you're the they, just realize it doesn't mean that you're not, but you might not be like us. So understand us. And then you might be able to become us. But just jumping to the song because mustard's on the beat, it's deeper messages than that.
Yeah. I like that. I like that we've been able to chat about this. I think we only got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and do the outro.
Okay.
It was amazing to talk with you, dude.
Thank you very much for having me on this platform. What's really important in interviews is that we're just talking and it doesn't feel like it's forced and even though this is our first time really talking, you made me feel real comfortable. It seems like you make your guests feel comfortable. So kudos to you.
I try my best, man. Even if I've never met a person before, I try to really come in either very prepared or very like I got a couple ready in the chamber ready to go when I need to get a question out there. But I like to keep it very casual, very cool, calm conversation. I'm glad you had a good time. I am very excited to edit and upload this episode. Well, that was our interview with Shawn William, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Shawn William is a great spoken word poet. He has shows all across the country, Grammy nominated. Had a lot of great, important things to talk about in just the hip-hop space, the spoken word space. And I hope you guys got a lot out of his story with his son. And I hope you guys check out his book. He is, I believe, I Am Shawn William on all platforms. Make sure you guys check him out. Make sure you guys check us out, RapRootsMedia.com, RapRoots Media on all platforms. Check out the Patreon, like, comment, subscribe, all of that great stuff. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, guys. Deuces.